Hello, I'm Abigail Kennedy and this is my final major project pitch presentation. So my idea is based around the topic of domestic abuse. I would like to create a psychological thriller, but the topic will have to be handled in a sensitive way. I've done my research into the conventions of a psychological thriller and found out that most psychological thriller films use a time lapse that involves flashbacks. This builds tension, so in my project I would like to show a young woman suffering from the abuse, but throughout the film show how it's progressively getting worse and using a time lapse to go back and forth in between now and how it happened in the past to show the injuries that she's gaining. I've also decided to interpret male domestic abuse to show that it happens on both sides. I'll have two main characters. One of them, her name's going to be Millie, she's 18. She's got a bit background, she's been brought up in a kind family, she's not had any problems at school, always been quite a popular person, therefore she's quite vulnerable to difficult situations in life. She meets the second character who's called Mason. He's got a bit of a rough background, he came from a rough family, he was quite a lonely kid. Struggled through school and was a college dropout. Quickly into their relationships, things start to go wrong, but Millie sees this as the norm, so she doesn't think much of it. And she agrees to move in with him quite quickly, and that turns out to be a big mistake, and through my film we'll see how things change quite drastically. But things that could go wrong, my actors might be busy with work or their final major projects. My actors could drop out if I don't get the personal release forms signed, or I could run out of time to edit it effectively if not stuck to my production schedule. I have done some research and I've conducted a survey to find out people's opinions. I ask them what comes to mind when they hear the term psychological thriller, and I ask this question to find out what the audience will expect from a psychological thriller film. I've also created a focus group from my research and found out that they all thought my idea was good but has to be handled delicately, and I focused my research on looking at statistics for domestic abuse and using these to create my short film as an awareness film, and I will show these statistics at the end of my film. I have started with practice shots using lighting, because I think that using dark lighting in a film like this helps create tension, but also dark lighting connotes sadness, but also fear. And that's it.
Okay. Right, thank you. Any questions?
Not from me.
Okay. All right, I've got just a few. Okay, so I've got the whole idea about using time lapse,
Yeah.
and how you're doing those different sequences to show how the abuse develops and what the result of that is. Okay, so you've got these little snippets of time lapse. What I didn't get was what's happening in between.
So in between the time lapses would be her now, so it would be kind of, it's difficult to explain. There'll be like flashback scenes showing how she's come across with these injuries, and then the time lapse would be showing how they're progressively getting worse.
Right.
So between you will see how it's happened, and then the time lapse will be showing them appearing, like the injuries and things like that.
Right.
It's difficult to explain
Okay.
with that.
Did you have an example? Is there an example that you've seen from TV or from film that you think, yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm aiming for? or is this completely?
Completely.
Okay.
I haven't really seen any examples of it.
Right. In which case, that just means that it doesn't mean that it's wrong to do that there, but it does mean that because you haven't got anything to go by, you really have to work it through in a lot of detail. Okay. Have you started to do your scripting and your storyboard for it yet? Okay. Does that help to make it clear in your head as to how the plot develops?
Yeah.
Yeah? And how those time lapses fit into these flashbacks?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's clear in your head?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I will have a look at your storyboards and at your scripts because I think I need to have it clear in my head as well. Alright, so yeah, focus group. You've done a focus group on what people think of your plans. I'm not sure that that's really that relevant. Okay, I'd prefer to see a focus group where you're learning something from it. Not a focus group which is basically saying, yeah, it's a great idea. Well, if you're doing it in the first place, it's going to be a great idea. What I'd like you to do, if you're going to do a focus group, maybe do a focus group on other psychological thrillers and get them to discuss some of the characteristics and the things that really draws them to a psychological thriller and what really works for them. In which case, then you can take out of that focus group some of the things that they think are really important and apply that to your focus group and apply that to your own film. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than sort of telling them a brief treatment and sort of giving them to say, yeah, it's good or it's bad sort of thing. I think you need to give them a focus group by its very nature has to have some sort of stimulus, and that stimulus is maybe get them to look at things and then ask them key questions so that you're actually drawing out some key information from them. Okay. I like what you're doing as far as the lighting is concerned. I think you're correct with that there. How are you recording your research on lighting?
My research on lighting.
Yeah.
I've got some YouTube clips and
Right.
I've used that. And I was thinking of making it into a Premiere Pro video just to show different
Right.
types of lighting that I've looked at.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because I think that's part of your research, isn't it? Because it's quite an important technique you're going to use within your psychological thriller. So therefore, it is important that you research that and I think write about that, and what you've learned from that, and how you're then going to use those techniques within your own film. Yeah, so you need to sort of analyse it and write it up and then use it within your own film. Okay. Yeah, well done. Okay. Right. Okay.